Tonight's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/SOS Radio. That's audibletrial.com/SOS Radio. No dash, listeners. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. For you, the listeners of the SOS-Radio podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. Right now, I, Jason Knight, am reading The Exorcist 40th Anniversary Edition, unabridged by William Peter Blatty. Check it out at audibletrial.com/SOS Radio. Hello, loyal listeners, and welcome to the SOS-Radio podcast. All paranormal, all the time. My name is Jason Knight, president and founder of Chicago's own Supernatural Occurrence Studies, and your host into the unknown. Tonight, finally, I am joined by...
Another interview? Another interview, isn't it? It's another interview.
It's not another interview, listeners. I am finally joined by my fellow SOSers and brothers in arms, Mr. Dave Black.
Hello!
Back again from Florida.
He's been in Florida this entire time. He
It's been so long. I haven't done this intro.
We were doing so much meth there.
A lot of meth in Florida.
That's
Mr. Joe Erie.
What? I was just thinking about Dave and meth and what comes along with that.
Yeah.
And, of course, as always, our producer extraordinaire, Mr. Oscar Spector.
Interviewed by, yes, hello, everybody.
Listeners, it seems like it's been about a year since we've all been under the same roof.
It's been a while.
Bringing you guys paranormal stories. I hope everyone has enjoyed the guests we've had over the past, 3-4 episodes.
Here's some inside baseball for you listeners out there. We basically had a gigantic fight. I hated everybody. I was like, fuck this show. I'm not doing it again.
And we're swearing now.
And basically, since we're swearing, we're just saying whatever. This is the makeup sex.
This is the
makeup session?
No, the makeup
Right,
sex.
we made up.
Guys, how come I wasn't aware of this?
Makeup sex Sean.
You were in Florida.
I was not made aware of this feud that we were having.
Well,
because we didn't even...
It's funny you mentioned feud because we had a lot of emails asking what's going on with the show. People enjoyed the guests we've had. We're going to talk about that. But I had an email from username Pennant Race. Pennant Race asked if I fired my co-host. And that wasn't the case.
He just used us for our expertise, and then once he learned our trade,
no, the thing
he just
is that
did it all himself.
we all, like, you have a family.
I don't.
Oscar has an adopted child that he's, keeping track of. We have
put a Fitbit on him.
We have Joe. He's got a family and he's got a job and he drives a truck. And when you drive a truck, it's like not only do you drive a truck and you have to manage a family, but you got to murder prostitutes.
That's a good.
And when
you can't get caught, you crazy?
When do you have time
What's
for
wrong with you?
all the prostitutes and the glory holes and the meth and the speed?
You cannot get caught.
What if we have trucker listeners?
Oh,
they know what's up.
They know. Yeah, they know. They know all about it. They're going to email Joe. Oh, Joe, hey, you got any good leads?
I know all the hot spots. And at the end of the day, my kid takes care of me.
For me, I'm like, I have another business. I have 2 businesses that I run, and I'm running back and forth to Florida all the time.
One's with his culo.
Yeah, generally.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But, so, it's just like we all have busy lives and things going on, so it's hard for us to make time to where we can all get together.
Basically, we're saying that we don't care about the show. We won't make time for it until now.
No,
absolutely not.
It's just it's like there has to be all the stars have to align in a very specific way for us all to be in the same place at the same time.
It is hard.
And even tonight, while we're here, we are missing our friend's 35th birthday party.
That's right.
And I'm missing
happy
some
birthday,
other party.
Bryson.
I want to throw this out there. Jay, what was your most memorable experience from this podcast so far?
Oh, it's got to be our trip to the Bridgewater Triangle.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a great time. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, is that snake still kicking?
Yes, it is. He's getting bigger. He shed 3 times.
You still have it?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Our souvenir snake.
Great, now we're going to hear chewing on the podcast. This
David?
is like rule
No
1.
chewing on the podcast, please.
David, what was your most favorable experience in this podcast so far?
I think that was definitely up there. I did enjoy the day we spent at Batchelor Grove, too, even though it was slow and there wasn't like a whole
We're going to talk
Right,
about that, absolutely.
Oscar, what about you?
The ride home usually is pretty good.
That's awesome.
Right home.
I love that trip, man.
trip was great.
I think we need to do that again soon.
We are. I mean, we're still in the dead of winter. Spring and summer is coming up. We got a lot of cool ideas and plans to take the show on the road.
Texas Ghost Towns.
Texas Ghost Towns is definitely a possibility, but we're definitely going to be getting out. Listeners really seem to like those shows when we're out in the elements, reporting live, talking to people, getting other perspectives. So we got a lot of that stuff.
Well, it's live on tape.
Yeah, live time release radio.
It's not live, though.
It's not live.
Yeah, okay.
Live-ish.
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 I'll go with that.
We could do a Facebook Live. Well,
easily. Yeah. You asked about favorites. You know, what was our favorite stuff as hosts and co-hosts? And we mentioned Bridgewater Triangle and other things, but the listeners really liked that episode 22, Mandela Effect, Time Slips, Alternate Realities. It's just got countless downloads. That seems to be a fan
I'm sure you can count it.
Seems to be a fan favorite.
Yeah, I really dug that
so we're
one.
back here. We're doing it.
Anything where I spoke more than a few lines, I kind of one of my favorites. Those are my favorite episodes.
You really covered a lot in that episode 22.
Yeah, that's why
you did. You really did.
And the one we did at that bar upstairs?
The Brixton.
Yeah, that one.
The Haunted Brixton. That was a good one. Which is
the only reason we haven't been back there is because it closed down.
The Brixton closed? What happened?
Just, I don't know.
Embezzlement.
It was haunted, that's why.
Fell out.
Really? They had good food. Pricey, but it was good.
That place has switched owners a bunch of times in the last few years.
Wait, donors or owners?
Like 5 or 6 different places.
What is it now?
A building.
It's
flip it
vacant. They're
no kidding.
It.
Do you think it had anything to do with the paranormal happenings there? Or just bad management?
I think it was just... There's only so many bars like that you can have in one area.
Neighborhood, yeah. Well, that's too...
A lot of the restaurants that I work with, like, they'll open up 5 restaurants in the same neighborhood on the same block. And I'm like, you're competing with yourself.
Unless they're just shooting for one to happen.
Slightly different. Because it's more of a cafe style, whereas this one's more of like a sit down place.
Bistro.
Yeah.
Or they write as a loss, you know.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. The guy we interviewed, I don't remember his first name, but last name Anger. How could you forget that? He was a good interviewee.
Alan
Anger. That's right. Yeah, he was good. That's too bad to hear the Brixton is gone. All right. Well, listeners, cruise on back through the episodes and listen to the Haunted Brixton episode to hear what we're talking about.
Hopefully when it opens up as a new place so we can get in right away.
Yeah. Set it on the Haunted.
I wonder if they're renting that apartment upstairs. Or...
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's pretty closely tied to that downstairs.
Yeah, they have a bar up there and everything, you know.
Yeah. But, so... It's been so long since we've been together, and there has been, consistency is key when it comes to podcasting. So we've had a lot of episodes released, even though we weren't together. I kind of wanted to make this a recap episode. Just let's talk about what's been playing, what's been on the air.
Kind of like when sitcoms do their flashback episode.
This is our flashback episode.
After 200 episodes, they'll do remember that time, and they flash back to an episode from the first season. Oh, yeah, they did this.
Yes, because we've done a lot.
Remember that? Remember episode 21 when Oscar was actually played by a different person?
I do. We never let the listeners know that.
You're right. Yeah, fuck that guy. Sorry, we're not swearing.
He was,
crack that guy.
He was played by a little Filipino man.
You don't have to say that they're little. They're pretty much little.
All right. Before we begin, I'd also like to let the listeners know we have a brand new website. SOS-radio.com has been 100% revamped, updated, made more modern. So listeners, please go check
out.
We're
like the H.H. Holmes of building websites. It's like you hire new people to build the website, and no one knows the original architecture, and you keep killing the ones previously. Nobody knows what the layout is.
That's right.
Nobody knows what the tunnels are.
I've gotten a lot of good feedback so far on the website, so listeners, check out SOS-radio.com. Let us know what you think by contacting us at submissions@sos-radio.com.
Have any of you guys ever been to the post office?
Oh, the HH on what it is now.
Oh, I think you meant the post office.
Wow, that's
I
random.
mailed a package earlier today at a post office.
Yeah, you know.
No, the old Motor Castle,
I've never been
grounds
there.
became, it's a U.S. post office now.
We should go there. I mean, not even for the show, just to go check it out and see what
Do you know
feel.
where that post office is?
Yeah.
Inglewood.
It's okay.
I'm going to Inglewood.
I'll go with you.
Screw that.
Let's do it. Oh, I'm fine with that.
I'm a minority. I'm fine.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Us white boys.
You know, there's a comedian named Baron Vaughn, and he says, whenever he's walking in a bad neighborhood, it's really scary to walk in a bad neighborhood sometimes. So what he does when he walks through a bad neighborhood is he just sings this song. Penises, penises, and lollipops. Penises, penises, I just can't stop. Penises, penises, and lollipops. Unicorn on top.
And he doesn't get jumped.
Yeah, nobody bothers him.
The weirdest thing is I sing that same song going to work every day.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know where this was. We've been drinking.
Wait, what?
Well, okay.
Oscar, have we been drinking?
Yes, you guys have been drinking.
Not that
Particularly
much, though.
Joe, the
You guys
pusher.
had like 2 shots.
No.
I know. It is
Joe, the pusher.
What? Maybe.
Pusher.
Maybe.
So,
Double time.
On that note,
Joe double
check
time.
out the website.
Or 2-time Joe.
Let us know what you think. I want to give a shout-out to a loyal listener, Vince. Vince, you know who you are. My paisan. Hello. Hope you enjoy the episode. And with that, let's get into it. So since the last time we've been together, it was probably before Thanksgiving even, we've released quite a few episodes. Consistency is key. We kept it rolling even though we couldn't get together. We've been to the notorious Batchelor Grove, had some experiences there. We had some guests on the show. Mr. Randy Tucker, owner and creator of SomewhereOutThereRadio.com. Sorry, Randy. SomewhereOutThereRadio.com. He came on and talked all about aliens, UFOs, abduction, Anunnaki, string theory, Planet X, and more.
And then yarn theory.
String and yarn. We visited a family twice who was being possibly plagued by demon, spirit, ghost, whatever you feel comfortable calling it.
Yeah, editing that show was fun.
Oh man, listening to that show
sure.
was something.
But
we'll get
that
in.
little girl for that long was.
We'll get to it, guys. We'll get to it. So we visited a possessed family. We interviewed a gentleman by the name of Stephen Roberts, a corruption-exposing journalist and government conspiracy expert. We interviewed a guy by the name of Jason Yancey, a glacial erratic expert, an alien contactee and possible abductee. So we've been busy, consistent. I want to get your guys' take on stuff we've been up to, what the show's been talking about. Let's go way back and let's talk briefly about Batchelor Grove. Talk about Batchelor Grove.
It was definitely a very cold night.
It was really cold.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cold. We know
I
because
had
we
to stop at a Walgreens and buy extra pants to put on over my.
That's right. That's right. And we wound up in water.
Yeah, I was going to
Waist
say,
deep
I
in
remember
water.
waist deep in water, and
Yeah, I didn't do the water thing.
No, you were smart.
Yeah,
you were smart.
I was like, it's a couple of guys with flashlights. They don't have rifles. Like,
I don't know. You were telling me turn off the camera. You can see the light. You were freaked out too. Don't try to deny.
The weird thing with that is, like, I'm like, oh, it's just people. It's people. I ran up there to go look, and I could have sworn I would have bet anything on it that they were wearing leather jackets, the blue police uniform underneath, like everything. They were cops. Right now I would bet money on that. I swear, I know what I saw.
And they were moving quick.
Yeah.
Because remember we kept saying it looks like they're on bikes or scooters or something like that. They were moving fast, like with purpose, like they belong there.
And then I was like, I'm like, dude, come on, guys. It's kids. It's people. Don't worry about it.
Which it did turn out to be.
Which, I know, but that's what's crazy. Like, I literally ran up there, and I'm like, fuck, it's cops. Oh, and then we hauled ass. And then, after the aftermath, a few people walked out. Was it them? We don't know 100%. It might not have been. There might have been multiple people. We don't know.
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to take that chance.
And if you guys remember, before we got chased out of there, I had an experience where I swore I saw someone standing at the front gate looking at a phone. Like, it looked like they were looking down in their hands. I assumed it was a phone. I thought it was one of you guys. So I ran over there. JoJo might have been with me or next to me, or I was like, where's JoJo? Where's Joe? I thought it was one of you guys.
Is that like
and there was no one there.
Where you guys were seeing the person outside the cemetery?
Well, that was back by the foot of the cemetery when I was with Brooke.
Yeah.
She kept seeing this black kind of globulous.
And that's where it was, right?
No, when I saw it, it was at the front gate.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, where's Joe? Where's JoJo? And I thought it was one of you guys, and I ran over there. Nobody was there. A couple seconds later, Brooke was like, there's someone standing behind you. And obviously there wasn't. Standing behind me, obviously there wasn't. So she saw something at that front gate, too. And a few minutes later, boom, that's when we started seeing something on the trail, something moving up the trail, and that's when we took off and headed out the back around that nasty-ass pond towards Midlothian Turnpike.
Well, like from me personally, what I experienced, where we got that, the demon photo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that triangle area there.
Yeah, that was hot. And the very front entrance of the cemetery. That's where I felt things. I don't think it was a hot night.
Yeah, it didn't really feel like there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't as intense as it's been sometimes that we're there.
But what was going on, there was a little bit of in that triangle area and the entrance of the cemetery. But yeah, it was pretty much a dead night, No
pun intended.
What are you going to do? Yeah, literally.
Sometimes it's hit or miss. I mean, we can't tell when this stuff is going to appear and manifest. But some experiences happened. Unfortunately, it wasn't as crazy as it's been in the past.
And I never experienced that creek. I didn't even know that was there.
Well, we found out, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I went up to my shins. Brooke went up to her. She literally got submerged to her waist.
I think actually almost up to her shoulder. I had to pull her out.
Yeah, well, that's all I saw was we're all walking. We're kind of like shuffling, running kind of quickly, like, oh, this sucks. We're sloshing through. Listeners could hear it on the audio. And I saw you guys. Next thing I see is Brooke just go down.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
And I was like, oh, man, she's going to kill us. Then if you remember, something else happened. After we got out of the water, we're making our way towards Midlothian Turnpike. I was looking for Dave. I'm like, where's Dave? Where's Dave? We can't leave without Dave. You had to get your son out.
Yeah.
So he didn't get caught in there because, listeners, we're not supposed to be in there. We don't condone that, but, there it is. But I'm like, no, we got to find Dave. We got to find Dave. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if it was me or Brooke was like, there he is. He's right there. Like,
didn't we look
a few yards
and
from
no one
us,
was there?
There was somebody there. I think it was Brooke. Do you remember, Dave, who pointed out? Was it Brooke?
I don't know. I wasn't
that's
there.
Right. Right.
No,
that's the whole point.
I remember
he was not there. He was way on the other side of this creek under a bridge.
And who
was next to us?
I forgot about that. She pointed, she's like, oh, there he is. There he is. And I'm like, okay, I'll go get him. And I went over, and I'm like, dude, he's nowhere near.
Not there. He was under that damn bridge, like a little troll under the bridge.
On the other side.
Yeah, dry. On the other side.
Because
so
where
was
you guys jumped
us?
in the water, there was a perfectly nice dry trail that went between the stream and the pond that you could walk all the way to Midlothian Turnpike without getting a speck of water on you.
Damn. It was rowdy. But that's what happens sometimes when you go out ghost hunting like that. You don't know how it's going to end. Sometimes it doesn't end well. Luckily, no one got arrested, no one got hurt, no one got killed.
And I taught Joey some bad stuff.
Yeah. JoJo Erie is here. JoJo, say hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, guys.
So, JoJo, while we're recapping, this is kind of the behind the scenes of these episodes. You remember being at Batchelor Grove with us?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember you saying to me at one point that you feel very nauseous, you feel like your stomach was upset, sick, like you got touched?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember this?
Uh-huh.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? What was going on behind the scenes?
Well, walking in there was kind of weird. Like, right when we got on the trail, just to walk to the cemetery, you could definitely, you could feel the change of the mood. You felt like something was watching you. You got that weird feel, like your hair's sticking up on your neck.
That's your first time there, right?
Yeah. And then once you actually go into the cemetery, it's, it's a little bit more of a feel. I remember right when I walked in, I went to the right in between the two trees. And then I felt like I heard some weird noise, and then something was like grabbing on my...
Oh, that's right, because you made a joke. Joe made a joke of it. That's right. I remember this.
Oh, yeah.
Grabbing your what?
What was his pants or his coat or something, right? Your pocket or something like that?
Clear.
Yeah, I just felt like someone touched me real quick.
Yeah. That's not uncommon there. I mean, it's a common thing that people say happens.
Other than that, I didn't really feel anything. You guys obviously said like you feel stuff a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty in tune with stuff, and it didn't feel very active that night.
Yeah.
Like there's something I wanted to bring up too. After we totally forgot about the mood. It was like I remember like as soon as we got there, it was like very calm, and then the moon got really bright, and it wasn't a full moon, but it was
don't
close.
think so.
It
We
was
could go
close
back
to.
and find, but I don't think it was.
But it was a very piercing moon, right, and very calm.
It was calm.
Yeah.
You know, Jojo was talking about that road. Some people can't even make that hike. You know, he's 14 years old. That was his first time there. He made that whole trek up that dark-ass, scary, abandoned road.
I'm glad you brought that up. I can't believe we used to do that all the time.
What a
and,
walk. That's a hike.
We parked our car how far?
Yeah, we would walk.
2
Like,
miles.
I mean, that's
we'd walk
crazy.
a mile in.
Yeah, with all of our equipment and stuff
Yeah.
like that. What else, Jojo? What else do you remember from that night?
I remember going to like the little kid who died or something, like that grave.
Oh, the infant daughter.
Yeah, that was weird. I felt like I heard something like talking, but other than that, there was nothing really. But like you said, when after we ran through the little pond,
Yeah.
when you thought it was Dave, I remember seeing someone like it was clear as day, and it wasn't Dave. It was nobody. We don't know who it was. Still,
Or what
but,
it was.
Yeah. I remember seeing that clear as day. It was weird, and it was like 5 feet away from me too.
It was close.
That's what scared me.
Isn't that creepy?
Yeah, Lexi put a piece of candy and something of hers on the little girl's grave.
Oh, the infant daughter. A lot
Yeah,
of
the
people do
infant
that. They leave these totemic offerings there.
Yeah, we saw some of that.
Reverence, yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know, Jojo,
Supposedly,
if you
the
think about
infant
it,
daughter was never actually
not even
buried.
there, yeah, which is very strange. If you guys remember, that area where we booked, where we ran, where we saw the Phantom Dave, whatever it was, that's the same area that Brooke kept saying she saw this black, globulous figure moving around among those trees.
Yeah, and what was weird about it, what we realized later at that night, she kept on saying to it, "Come on, show yourself."
Yeah, she was taunting it, you're right.
So maybe that's what it kind of was doing.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of like maybe showed itself to her, you know, rather than anyone else because she asked.
She was taunting, yeah.
But like, something like it got me thinking.
It should be noted that Brooke is also the mother of the little girl who has the
Dee Dee,
Junie.
who has Junie, right. We'll get to that. Yeah,
but and this got me thinking too, because in a weird way we kind of did do a little experiment, like without even thinking about it. I remember that when you and Dave took me to Batchelor's for the first time, and how open I was, and like, oh, it's just so new, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel now like Dave and I are almost, we're not desensitized, but maybe we can't feel like we used to, like where it has to be, like,
or it has to be at like a 10 before he could
It's kind of the
actually.
difference between jumping in the pool and then after you've been in the pool for a while, it doesn't feel so cold anymore, you know?
Ah, good
that's
analogy.
actually an awesome way to look at it. But do you feel the same way?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like once we get comfortable with a place and it gets comfortable with us, it's not as
intense.
Yeah, it's not as intense anymore. It's not like it's
Interesting.
jarring because, our bodies are acclimated to it or whatnot.
And that's kind of how I look at it, because I've noticed that, like, I kind of pay attention, like, a little bit, to certain things like
When you
that.
add a new fish to your fish tank, and you have to float him in this little bag of water on top of the
That's
fish
right.
tank, and just gently add the water in
Slowly add the water.
until he's like acclimated to it, and then you can release him.
That's
And
right.
the fish is like, cool, man, this is all good.
So how does that relate to you and Joe?
We're acclimated, to that other world,
Every time
that
we
other
go there,
dimension.
it's another little scoop of water in our bag.
Nice.
And eventually,
Nice.
our bag is filled with the water of the cemetery, and we are at one with it.
And we slept together at Colonial Inn in the same bed.
You really did.
Yeah, like
You
literally.
guys- I mean, you were
Literally.
really close.
I mean, we did.
Like cheeks to
hey,
cheeks.
not to sound weird, but we did put pillows in between. But when I woke up,
Pillows were
missing.
gone.
It was,
Yeah, so Batchelor Grove. And then, so we went that was a nighttime excursion. Dave and Oscar went to Batchelor Grove Halloween 2016 afternoon.
on Halloween afternoon.
Right,
And,
yes.
And I expected, like, it was a weekday, but I expected, like, I think it was a Monday, wasn't it? Monday was Halloween, or Tuesday, something like that.
It was a weekday, yeah.
And
I think it was
Monday,
I
right?
think it was a Monday.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we went there, and we brought a whole cooler full of drinks and snacks that we just gave to people as they came in. We gave them SOS flyers to let them know about the podcast and stuff.
Awesome.
And all day long, we were there for like probably 5 hours, 6 hours, and maybe 20 people, 25 people came through. And, everyone was like, oh, yesterday on the weekend, like there were hundreds of people coming through here, and the parking lot was full across the street and stuff. So it was kind of a slow day. Like there wasn't a whole lot going on, but it was cool to just like be out there and hanging out and talking to people and seeing why people were visiting and what they had to say. And
Yeah, you did some good
different walks of
interviews. Yeah.
Yeah, some couples. It was interesting, the people that were there. A lot of kids, teenagers, towards the end especially. Some of them were just annoyingly really active, running around literally for no reason.
Well, like this is another
Or smoking
thing.
pot, too, a lot of that going.
Well, this is another thing, too. Let's say a decade ago when we were doing this, it kind of seems like a lot more people were going to these places than they do now. I mean, do you feel that, too? When you guys see that also?
I think it's probably more now because
I think
of all the
it's
shows.
Yeah, this topic has never been as hot as it is right now. It's just...
I mean, arguably...
something is going on. People are looking for more.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably, it was a little hotter like a few years ago when those shows first came out and stuff. But
yeah, I just feel like, before when we used to do it, there used to be a lot more people. Maybe it's because I was into it and I saw it more. You know
Maybe.
what I mean? And
yeah, I tend to think it's the opposite.
No,
I think it's hotter
been-
now.
But discussing,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, because I was going to say, it's, these things, this energy, I think it feeds off people, and if there's more, if not as many people are going there, or, maybe it's not charging as much, but, I mean, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to get a head count, see how many people go throughout a year. I mean, how do you do that, like
Exactly.
realistically, but.
Trail cam, drone, yeah.
Yeah.
It was interesting to hear in your daytime Halloween excursion at Batchelor Grove, no matter the age of the person you were interviewing, a lot of them had a lot of the same stories. Mm-hmm. Whether it was the woman in white, whether it was the disappearing house, the balls of light, I think were talked about quite a...
all the, like, local lore of the...
Yeah, local lore, good. So that was kind of interesting, just seeing how these stories are passed down from generation to generation.
Your mom, I think, actually had the story of the house.
She claims to have seen that disappearing farmhouse, way back in the, I want to say 70s, early 70s.
That was like before anyone even knew about it, too.
Right.
I always find those to be the most compelling stories is when people tell you something that they weren't even aware of, and you're like, hey, that's actually supposed to be like the guy that I saw on Facebook one night who lives in Wisconsin. He's like, I don't know if I'm going crazy, but I just saw 2 glowing green kangaroos cross the road in front of me.
Yeah, this is
and it sparked something in my brain like, wait a minute, that's like a thing. That's like a thing that happens there. I've heard about it before, and I looked it up, and sure enough, Ghost of the Prairie, in fact, had an article about these like phantom kangaroos you can see all over that part of Wisconsin. So.
But also too, like you were saying before in the previous podcasts, that prehistorically they used to have kangaroos.
And that guy had no concept. He had no.
Who would know that?
Exactly. I mean, that's a lot with these early reports of the disappearing farmhouse.
I mean, I've even heard phenomenon like that where people see dinosaurs and stuff.
I would love to see a phantom dinosaur.
That's a weird
cool.
theory, I mean,
that'd be cool.
A weird thought.
That's why I think a lot of paranormal activity stuff like that isn't so much spirits or conventionally thinking ways of like, oh, it's a phantom this or it's a phantom that.
Energy reliving.
But it's actually you're just kind of like seeing a window in time or just seeing or experiencing something that happened in the past in that spot for whatever reason. The time warps or whatever.
I'm just now that we're on the subject, I know like we didn't do the Lincoln Report, but I actually had an experience like that.
Recently?
I was, one of my friends was house sitting for his friends that were out of town, and they have a pretty big house. It's nice. But like we're hanging out in the living room, and all of a sudden, and with this gift, you know, I can turn it on, I could turn it off, and sometimes I can't turn it off, where it's just things need to be seen. And I kept on seeing this tall, skinny, large, like just male in this house. Yeah, in this one area, and I'm like, what? And I kept on looking. I kept on seeing him. He was just very, very tall, skinny male, and he wanted to be seen for some reason. And I told my friend, I'm like, hey, by any chance, I'm like, well, was there any like tall, skinny guy? And I kind of described the way he looked and stuff, and he's like, I don't know, I'll have to ask them. And then later on, like we were walking around, and we went to this one room. They call it the doll room. And there's all these old dolls, you know, like it's a really cool room. But anyway, there's a little girl, just boom, there was like a little girl in there. I just know that I felt that, and it just popped in my head. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I feel like there's a little girl here. Like, what's a little girl? And he's like, I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
Ask him the homeowners.
Yeah. So a couple days later, like when they got back, he talked to me. He's like, dude, he's like, the crazy thing is, there used to be a farmer that used to live here, the way I described, on that land. And she said, and the wife, the homeowner, she said there's significance with that room with the little girl. And they haven't told me yet, but they're like, I was like dead on. And there's no way I could have ever, you know, done that, you know? I mean, and same thing, remember even at your house, when, your old house, where I saw that guy in the coat and the hat, coat and the fedora, and your mom was like, "Yeah, that's your grandfather." Yeah. And how would I know that?
Uncle. It was an uncle.
Oh, yeah.
No, sorry, but yeah, you're right.
It's weird, right? Like, I mean, that stuff like that. It's like, how do you explain that? You know, I mean, when you're dead on about something, you can't make up.
Oh, it's the $1 million question. What is that? I don't know.
It's like, is your mind playing tricks on you? Or, I mean, like, it's so definite, you know?
No, if it could be corroborated like that with the homeowners, well, it's not your mind playing tricks on you, I don't think.
That's why I like to, when I find a place or feel something in the place, I like to get, like, no information. Just don't tell me anything, let me go walk around.
Basically, what we've been doing lately. And sorry, like, boom, popped in my head. I have to bring this so I don't forget. I had a sleepover at my mom's house like a week ago.
Sleepover? You're like 35.
I know. But I slept overnight there one night, and my mom takes care of my grandpa, who, you know, he has Alzheimer's, he had a stroke. She takes care of him. He could go at any time. We don't know. But he seems okay, but like recently I had a dream about my other grandpa, and usually when I used to dream of people that have died, I could speak to them, but they can't speak back, but I could understand through their eyes. Then it got to they could speak to me and I can't speak back. So and then now we can communicate back and forth. It was almost like a learned type of thing. And I know when I'm in that different realm. Really weird. Another story, but I had a dream about my grandfather on the opposite side. We're sitting down, and he's telling me, he's like, yeah, there's not too much time left. There's not too much time left. It's almost done. Like basically something's coming to a close. That could mean a lot of things, you know, but couple days later, I slept over at my mom's house, and in the middle of the night, I woke up at 3 a.m.
There's that. Yeah, you're always waking up at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm, and all of a sudden, I hear all this talking, and I'm like, "Oh, the TV's on," and I hear, "Oh, he can hear me," and then
wait, what did it say?
It's like he could hear us. He could hear us, he could hear me, and then it just stopped. But it was so fucking loud.
What do you think that was?
And I got up to go see if the TV was on. I'm like, did my grandpa or did Joey's grandpa, my dad, wake up? Did Joey wake up? Is the TV on? And I don't know. It just TV wasn't on anything, and I'm like, oh my god, it was weird because I was hearing a conversation for a while, and it was a group of people talking. It was like almost like a party.
When you woke up,
swear to God,
he could hear us.
Yeah, and then as I'm listening, it's like, oh, he could hear us. It's like, and then it went whoop, and it stopped, and I'm like, and I got up. I'm like, I was like, holy shit, this was fucking crazy. So I woke up in the morning. I told my mom, and she's like, that's probably his mom and his dad and everyone telling him, okay, just come to the light.
People who've gone
and I'm
before.
Like, oh yeah, and I'm just like, oh. And another thing is, Dave, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but my whole theory where when you go to sleep and there's that point where your body, your mind and soul drifts off to the other realm,
right between REM and awake.
Mm-hmm. And that's where it can meet the spirit world. And a lot of times I kind of wake up like fast, or I'm kind of still in between.
It's that same space where you can have the sleep paralysis.
Yeah. But there's a couple times where I'm hearing like the dog's barking in my bed.
You keep making that sound of
because that's what it sounds like. It's like a horror.
Just a few days ago, there's this road in Florida that me and Dan go to. We source fruit for a few days, and then we'll go to the Everglades. I'm a huge fan of reptiles and stuff, and Dan is as well. And so there's this road that goes through the Miccosukee Indian Reservation in the middle of the Everglades, in the middle of Central Florida. And you go down this thing at night, and you can shine. There's these culverts on either side of the road, like every couple 100 feet, and you can shine your light into the water and see like 8-foot alligators and fish and all these crazy things.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we were out there actually fishing at night at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and there's nobody for miles. They're the only people for probably 20 miles in every direction. And you hear all this like chattering off in the swamp. You hear and it sounds like old people like yammering at each other. Just
what is it?
It's birds. It's all these birds. All these like crazy wading birds and herons and storks and all these crazy things off in the trees, and that's where they sleep. And when they hear you coming, they start making all this crazy sound.
Wow.
And it sounds like people talk. Like you'll be walking, your feet will be crunching on your feet, and you'll hear like.
Okay, and just what Dave is explaining right now, I swear to you, I may be fucking crazy, I don't care, but this happened 2 to 3 times where I woke up in that dream state, and I hear I know the dogs are, the chihuahuas, but underneath that, I hear, and then I hear talking, and it's like they're like basically like I don't know if that bark or that loudness is a distraction where they can kind of communicate underneath, and they're talking back and forth. And I actually heard a couple of conversations. What they were
what
saying.
Did they say?
It could have something to do with
he didn't do anything. Blah, blah, blah. It's like
maybe
they're talking about.
I have a
what's
theory.
going on at home. I swear to God.
New theory developing, guys.
Right.
But maybe certain sound waves, certain actual like wavelengths of sound can actually be a catalyst for things to come through. Like they can actually ride on that wave of sound to come through into
kind of like the ghost boxes that everyone uses nowadays, where it spans those AM frequencies very, very quickly.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, think about it like this, and this is very simple. The mob or whatever, you put a fucking scrambler on a telephone.
That's essentially what this is.
That's
kind of what we're talking about.
Exactly. That's it. But this is the crazy thing. As soon as they tap in, because as soon as they know that I could hear it, then he can hear me. And then boom, it stops and it goes dead. And they stop barking even.
The dogs.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm like, son of a bitch. And I could understand one time, okay, like, I'm dreaming, that was crazy, whatever. But this was 4 times this has happened now, where I tapped into that wavelength. And
No.
it's crazy, man.
I don't know. Sometimes I wish I had what you guys had, and other times I'm glad I don't. But
Good.
Gasker, you want that power?
Nah, I'm okay. They can have it for me.
Okay. We kind of got a little bit off.
Yeah, what were we recap? No, I'm good with Bachelor's Grove. I think we said everything.
Is there any last thoughts behind the scenes look at Batchelor Grove?
We walked after we were done that day when I was with Dave on Halloween.
Tell us what you thought.
We walked with I walked with Lexi alone for a while when it was getting dark. Right before getting dark, I mean, because you have to get out of there. You have to get out of the parking lot.
Right.
And we didn't experience anything. I mean, she was saying she was feeling something, but I wasn't.
Do you remember what part of the cemetery she might have thought she felt something?
I mean, I can show you if we would go there again, but I don't. It wasn't. It was maybe a quarter mile from the cemetery itself.
Deeper into the woods.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
They say there's supposed to be like foundations of an old settlement back there, and that's possibly where this disappearing house originates. And
almost every single forest preserve in Cook County at some point was private farmland or whatever. Almost all the woods.
Look at Robinson with that foundation.
Right.
Almost all the woods in northern Illinois are, in fact, old homesteads they're all second growth forests. They're not original forests.
Well, maybe you were picking up something from one of those original settlements. Or
maybe.
She was picking up something from
maybe,
one of those
yeah.
original settlements.
Totally.
Settlements. Listeners could go to our YouTube channel, Chicago Zone Supernatural Occurrence Studies, on YouTube. Subscribe while you're there, and you can see footage from Dave Black and Oscar Spector's jaunt to Batchelor Grove Cemetery, Halloween 2016. Let us know what you think. You could also listen to SOS-Radio Podcast Episode 29 to hear all of our exciting adventure from that evening at Batchelor Grove. And daytime
Why do you keep calling
audio
it
recording as
Batchelor
well.
Grove and not Bachelor's Grove?
Because one of the original spellings in the original plat of survey is actually Batchelor. Batchelor Grove. Yeah. Likely named after the Batchelder family, who settled an area very close to that cemetery.
We do need to go back and walk through the woods.
Yeah.
You know.
We never really make it past the cemetery. We stay in the cemetery. But yeah, listeners could listen to episode 29 to hear daytime footage from Halloween 2016 and nighttime footage and what we experienced there at night. Dave mentioned it himself, so let's just roll right into Family Possessed. Brooke, Dee Dee, the entity known as Junie.
Yeah, this is the thing, is when she first called me, it was...
Brooke.
Yeah. It was this desperate, like, there's something happening here. I don't know what it is, but my daughter is having full-on conversations with someone that's not there, and this is well beyond, like, an imaginary friend thing. So that was a good 3 months ago or so.
Now, yeah.
When she originally contacted me, and I went over there right away that night and talked to them. And they said, you can tell when somebody's just like being loony and goofy, but you could tell, like, there was definitely something going on there. I could feel it hanging over this little girl.
Yeah, so explain that really quickly. She was sleeping on the couch when you got there.
Yeah, so she was sleeping on the couch when I got there, and as soon as I walked in the house, I could tell that there was a presence there. I could tell that there was something there. So I went into the little girl's room. She wasn't in the room at the time. She was sleeping on the couch, and there was definitely a heavy presence in her room, particularly one corner of the room, which supposedly was that's where the grandmother had passed away or something like that. So there was definitely a presence in that room, for sure. There was definitely something in that room. And not only that, but there was definitely something in the basement on the other side of the house, too. But...
Could you describe your feelings? What were you feeling that said to you, yes, there's something?
Well, it's just that classic, intense, like, heavy feeling of that there's something here. The tingling, you get the chill down your spine, the whole 9 yards. It's there. It's definitely there. And I didn't even really think of it until I was about to leave, where I put my hands, like, over the space, over the little girl. Like, she was sleeping on the couch, and I kind of just walked up to where she was at and put my hands up above the air and space above her, and I could feel like I was, like, putting my hands into a ball of static electricity. It was like there was a sphere of just energy hanging over her. And it was really intense. It was like, it immediately made my eyes tear up. And I'm like, whoa, like this is not something I've never felt that attached to a human in such a concentrated area where I could actually like put my hand into it. And then I'm like, hold on, let me go check. And I went back into the little girl's room to see if I could still feel it in the room. And sure enough, I could. It was still in the room. And then I came back out, put my hands on the little girl again, and it wasn't there anymore.
So it had moved from the little girl back into the bedroom.
I think so. But I never, I don't think that it can, like, I think even when you feel it in one space, that doesn't necessarily preclude it from being somewhere else at the same time. Because, keep in mind, this stuff isn't bound by the properties of time and space. This stuff isn't, it isn't a physical thing. So, time doesn't necessarily, it doesn't need to physically move from one place to another. It could just materialize wherever it wants, whenever it wants.
So there you were. You went there that night first, before any of us.
Mm-hmm.
Late at night. Got to give you props for that.
It was like
you're going to get killed.
It was
or
like
what,
8 or 9 at night.
Yeah.
And I was there until probably 11:30. And my girlfriend came with me, and she just sat in the car. She didn't want to go in.
So you walk in, you feel it immediately. You felt it in the bedroom. You felt it above the girl. Essentially, in so many words, you called us and you're like, we need to go check this out again.
Yeah.
We need to do something here.
So, by the time we were able to finally get around to doing it, it was, a good 2 months later. So the first time I didn't get to interview Dee Dee. I didn't get to interview the little girl because she was sleeping. So I had to hear basically all the story from the mother, the 17-year-old daughter, and the boyfriend. And so when me and Joe came back, me and JoJo and Joe came back a couple weeks ago.
Well, we did go back because episode 30, that's when we all went back there together.
Yeah.
And so that was the second trip. We still couldn't interview Dee Dee.
Yeah, because she was at her dad's house.
She was with her father. But we got the scoop, basically, of what's been transpiring, what Dee Dee's been up to, where her father and father's girlfriend or whatever had been taking her to haunted locations, Batchelor Grove being one of them.
Yeah. So I had this sense of urgency of like, we got to talk to this little girl before the situation changes, before it's not there anymore, before it moves on or she moves on or whatever it is. Like, we got to get to the bottom of this. So time constraints and everything else, like when me and Joe and JoJo finally got to go talk to Dee Dee, supposedly the father's girlfriend, who was the catalyst for all this, who was giving her the necklace with the
she
stone,
had a pendulum,
stone, and she wouldn't let her leave the house with it. Like,
with
it was
the pendulum, that's right.
And then, that actually took her to the Batchelor's Grove and all this stuff. Apparently, she didn't know for sure, but it seemed as though that relationship had ended with the father, and that woman wasn't around anymore.
It's probably a good thing.
So when we finally got the opportunity to talk to Dee Dee, the narrative of what we had heard had kind of changed.
It did.
Where now she was saying, Junie's imaginary, she's not real. Like, basically just repeating whatever adults had been telling her.
So now we're into episode 33 for listeners who want to catch up, when you and Joe and JoJo actually interviewed Junie.
Right.
Or Dee Dee about Junie.
Yeah.
Junie's the supposed entity.
And she apparently had another imaginary friend, too. What was it, Annie or Amy?
Annie.
Oh, yeah, Annie.
Annie was another imaginary friend she was talking about, who I'm guessing, like, it sounded like she knew Annie through Junie. Like, it was like a secondary imaginary friend.
And I believe she said that she had other friends, too. She'd only just said two.
Yeah, it was really hard to... That was Oscar, how hard was it to edit that episode?
It was...
more than usual.
It was
hard
that was
to get,
a difficult one.
It was hard to get any information out of her because she
didn't want to talk at the time.
She didn't want to talk, and she kept saying she was bored and she didn't want to hear these questions anymore. She was obsessed with her slime. Her older sister.
Well, she's what? She's 6?
She's 4.
4.
Yeah.
So listeners, I got some emails about that episode. One thing I want to throw out there, it was extremely hard to edit. It was hard to listen to and try to edit to where it's coherent and yet kept the episode moving. I seem to have ended it sort of abruptly, and people didn't like that, so I want to apologize. To me, it made sense at the very end when Joe Erie, Dave Black, and Brooke were outside the home talking, kind of recapping what had happened that evening, I had to cut it at some point, and Brooke was talking about something Dave and Joe were arguing about like usual, and Brooke said, and that's the end. And then that's where I cut it. You know, she's saying, and that's the end. It was the end to your guys' argument. And I'm like, all right, this is where I'm going to kill the episode. And people didn't like that. They're like, I got emails saying, hey, what happened to the rest of the show? Okay. That was the rest of the show. I just ended it when she said end. I thought it would be clever. It didn't transfer well, so I apologize for that. But getting back to the meat of that episode.
I think, honestly, what I think might have happened, and we don't know this for sure because the Brooke is estranged from Dee Dee's father. They're going through a divorce, so they're not really talking, and there's, custody issues and the house and all that stuff going on. She's actually selling that house because it's part of the whole divorce thing.
I see.
So I feel that once the father's, hippy-dippy girlfriend was out of the picture, that there might have been some kind of lockdown on her, like, forget everything she told you and all the things and take the necklace away. And like I think the father had some sort of intervention with Dee Dee to, like, get all that stuff out of her head or whatever. So by the time we actually were able to sit down and talk to her, she was already starting to, like, purge a lot of what she
I could see that.
Yeah,
but
regardless.
In listening, could I say something real quick? Real quick. Hold your thought. Because I wasn't there. I couldn't make it. So I thank the three of you, Joe, and Dave, for going and finishing. Well, we don't know if it's finished for sure, but kind of putting an end to it for the time being. I thank you for that. I was a fourth party listening to this, and the kid did say some pretty weird stuff.
Oh yeah, about the murder.
Murder and the pumpkin patch, and the mother and father were killed. The bad man killed them. They never caught the bad man. She drew the picture.
The mother was 14 and the father was 18, or vice versa.
Yeah, which is really common for period kind of arranged marriages, or just people back then hooking up at much younger ages. That's totally in line.
Yeah,
she drew that picture of the stick figure with the thing going through its neck and the messed up belly. Why is Junie sad? Because she's dead. And there was actually a time when, I don't know if Junie left or Dee Dee left the room and told Junie to go by you guys.
Oh,
and both of you guys were like, whoa, we could feel it. It's coming. Here now. Yeah. It wasn't, now it is.
We could feel it next to her.
Right. You tried to take photos, listeners, nothing came out of the photos. You took EVP, like an hour of EVP. I listened to it twice. Nothing conclusive came out. There was some weird I think I was actually texting you at the time, Dave, and I was listening to it like, oh, there's all these taps and these creaks and cracks and blah, blah, blah. But nothing conclusive, so I'm not going to include it in this episode.
Yeah, and the older sister and her boyfriend were in the next
like
room.
An adjacent room. Yeah, so it's very hard to tell. Could have been contaminated. But still,
they were aware
couple
of what was
weird
going
things.
on, so they were trying to be quiet and not,
Well, regardless what happened, the facts, okay? Before we ever met her, we went to that house. That house is definitely haunted.
It's 100%.
100%, okay? So we know that, okay? Number two, the fact whether, things come to her or not, that girl, she's an old soul, okay? She was extra smart for her age.
She seemed like she was very smart.
Very smart. Whether she's the star child, of where it goes in like the aliens, or the people that are extra intuitive, whether there's something going on.
We'll get there soon.
Know that.
We have an episode to talk about aliens.
But few things that happen at that house, and this is where I think Dave and I are starting to kind of get better at what we do, where things pop in our head. It wasn't like that, like a decade or two ago. I'm walking in a room. Okay, what happened right here? Oh, well, that's where my grandma died. Oh, okay. Well, that's why it feels crazy.
I'm thinking just one we talked about earlier was the Brixton. You guys nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it, just like what you're saying.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, something pops in my head. And I actually see it. The music box where the gears are moving and the metals, din, 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 tinging on
at this house.
And
the house we're
like,
talking
well,
about.
is there
and then Brooke gave you all those creepy ass dolls.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
telling you, Brooke probably gave you a fortune.
Oh.
And she doesn't realize it. Brooke, you shouldn't have done it.
Oh, it's awesome. Like, you don't understand. I love those things.
Did she text you? She texted me saying she had more for you, and I gave her your number. I don't know if she.
Yeah, I got to get her.
Sweet lady, sweet woman.
A Raggedy
Seems
Ann
like
doll.
a sweet girl.
I have to find
the little
it,
girl.
though.
I mean,
yeah.
I want to hear from JoJo because you guys actually, we all kind of talked about it and said JoJo should interview Dee Dee because he's young, Dee Dee's young. I would really like to hear from JoJo what he thought of the experience.
No, yeah, of course. I just want to say, I was like something really quick. So that happened in that room where I heard the thing. She's like, "Oh, that was my grandma's favorite thing, the music box," and she knew what I was talking about. And it's like, how would I know that? Then when we were actually walking around the house, we went into the other room, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what happened here? This is that's where my grandpa died." And I'm like, "Oh." And then when we went downstairs, we're looking all around. And I'm like, "Oh my God, these dressers, were they upstairs in your grandpa's room?" And she's like, "Yeah, they were." And it was that.
How did you know that?
Head. That was weird, So what I'm getting at first and foremost, that place is haunted, regardless,
Regardless if it's attached to Dee Dee or something
not.
With the property
and it's a very strong, and Dave, right? Mm-hmm. And another thing is, we went there twice now. Well, I went there twice. You went there 3 times. The 2 times I went there, I left with a freaking horrible headache, man. Horrible.
What do you think that's from?
Horrible headache.
Yeah, it was definitely draining.
So, JoJo. Joe.
Yes.
What did you think of the whole experience? Because you were there all 3 times, weren't you? Oh, twice. You were there twice.
I think I was there all 3 times.
Well, Dave went the 1 time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dave went
so what did you think? You're new to this whole world. Your dad's just indoctrinating you to this world very recently. What did you think of this? A family under attack.
Definitely right away when you walked in, you got that feel, kind of how you got it at Batchelor's. Like, okay, there's something here. You feeling it more in some rooms than others. But overall, the place, like they're saying, it is haunted.
I remember being in the basement with you.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? And we were using the EMF detector. And in certain spots of that basement, that EMF detector would go bonkers.
Yeah, and remember, like, right by that corridor, like the walkway, I felt something touch me, and then you put it right up to there, and then it went up.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ahead. What happened?
No, I was standing there in like the middle of the door frame, and I felt something touch me, and I was like, "Jay," and then he ended up turning it on, and it went up like crazy. I don't know.
Right. It did.
Oh yeah,
it did. And also in that basement, YouTubers could see this transpire. Dave Black uncovered. He thinks he uncovered the actual name of this entity.
Well,
by using the alphabet. So if you go to the SOS-radio, if you go to Chicago's Own Supernatural Current Studies on YouTube and look for a video called Entity Haunting Investigation, you could actually see Dave possibly uncover the name of this entity.
Yeah, so I realized this when I was with Joe at the witch party situation. Where
that was a bonus episode we did.
Where we went to this house down the block, and I realized we realized that the whatever energy was in this one room was this girl's grandmother. And I was getting a lot of information.
This is the first night that anything popped in Dave's head too. Yeah, you remember that?
Things have popped in my head before, but this was like definite. Like,
well, that I know of.
I came out of the room like, "Who's Maureen?" And the girl's like, "I'm Maureen." I'm like, "Did you ever introduce yourself to me?" She's like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, okay, well, it's possible I heard somebody say her name at the party or whatever, but I had no idea what her name was. At any rate, so it was at that point that I started asking questions to the room, basically, because I could feel it when I walk in. So when I can feel it when I walk in, if I can communicate with it, I'm like, okay, well, get away from me now. And then stay away from me, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. And if I get to the right number, or if I say yes or no, I'll ask, I can ask questions where I can give the answers. Come to me when I get to the correct answer, whether it be numbers or true or false or whatever. So I was able to get, other than the names that were kind of popped into my head of her grandfather and her aunt's name, all kind of came into my head, which are the only names that came to me while I was there, was Johnny, Mary, and Maureen. And all three of those were relevant to the place I was at.
So flash forward to...
So I flash forward to the basement of... I've tried this exactly 4 times now. I tried it in the train station in Joliet. I tried it with the thing that came to my house when I had that crazy experience with the thing standing at the end of my bed. So I tried it in the basement because I felt a strong presence then. So I did the alphabet thing. I said, give me the first initial of your name. When I get to the right letter, come to me. And it kept giving me I. And I went through several times, and I kept getting I. So I'm like, okay, let's go with the second letter of your name. And I go through it again, and I get T. And I go through it again to make sure, and I get T again. I'm like, okay, let's go with the third letter of your name. And I go through the alphabet, and I get nothing. I go through the alphabet, I get nothing. I go through the alphabet, I get nothing.
Right.
So it was IT. It was telling me its name was it.
Which is it's horrifying.
Which I don't know
if
it was just messing with me,
but
or
Julie,
if that
the IT at the end, Judith,
or if it was just trying to give me initials or whatever, or maybe there's some other meaning to those letters. But it was especially creepy. It was especially creepy because right outside that room there were hundreds of little dolls.
Yeah,
staring.
Well, again, listeners could watch Dave do this. Chicago's Own Supernatural Occurrence today is on YouTube. Look for Entity Haunting Investigation.
Okay, you guys don't know this. I went through all those dolls, and they all have names like Bob, Jim, Tom, George. You know what I mean? There is one name in one of the dolls. Her name's June.
Stop it!
I swear to you, I'll show you.
Was she sealed? Was she?
And
was it open, or was it like a sealed box?
And I want to know why that. I believe she said that might have been one of her grandma's favorite dolls, and I don't know. Maybe that's the month she was born. I don't know, but specifically it was June, and. I don't know if
I still think
been a month or who knows, but we need to find that out.
The plot thickens.
I still feel the name Junie that the little girl uses as some sort of like misheard, Judith or some other kind of name that's kind of like Rain Man.
Anything else you would add, JoJo?
Yeah, with D, I mean, you could definitely tell that she had a
girl, right?
Yeah, the little girl. You could definitely tell that she had a gift, or something was different than the normal children.
How could you tell?
You could tell it in their eyes, like how quiet she was. She was smart. And usually a lot of the ones that are quiet, they just have so much stuff in their mind. They're never really like saying so much because. Well, I mean, I don't know how to say it from there. No, but you guys didn't. Yeah, you guys can't say anything about it. But after the podcast, when we ended it, I went into her room and we were just playing while they were in the basement. I don't know if you guys were trying to get EVP or whatever. And you could tell when she's alone, or I don't know if she's just alone with me. She's just like so different because when she's around other people.
Different how?
Well, when she was around everybody else, she was more quiet.
Brooke did tell me, she's like, Dee Dee said she didn't like Joe and Dave, but she liked JoJo.
Yeah, when she was around me, she was really like happy, bright. She was laughing, smiling. But the thing that was really weird is while she was having a normal conversation with me, she was having a normal conversation with Junie.
What was she saying to Junie?
She was just like talking to her, like, hey, do you want to participate? Like, we were playing with dolls and stuff in the dollhouse, just like normal stuff, and like whispering behind her shoulder and stuff.
Wow.
And
What do you think of that, Joe?
All right, because this is what I said right away. I'm like, does Junie like us?
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, because she knows that we know, you know? And a lot of times they don't like when people know. They're standoffish and like, stay away.
Who's there, Joe? Who are they? Who is this? What is this?
And what is it?
Do you think it's a little girl? Do you think it's a demon? Do you think it's
the girl? The girl? D?
No, I mean, do you think the entity is? I don't know what that was.
Whoa.
We're at my house. My house is known for sporadic paranormal activity.
That's crazy.
Just check YouTube for that video. Ghost in the Garage. Do you think this entity is really a little girl, like Dee Dee said she is, or is it a demon masquerading?
All right,
as
see, this is what scared the
a little girl. What is
All right,
this?
I'm gonna
because
be straight up.
That really thickened the plot here.
And
JoJo just dropped a bomb.
Joey never told me this. If he would have, oh my God, Joey said this. This is the first time I heard it. Okay, and I wish he would have said something sooner. Okay, but this is what I got. Number one, like I said before, what we know. The house is haunted. It's very haunted.
Could I?
Number two,
could
the
I
girl's
stop you
an old soul.
An old soul.
Yes.
The house is, and I want to say this delicately. It's in disarray. It's
anger,
cluttered. There's anger from the divorce. It's there's stuff kind of everywhere. Negative energy builds up. Negative energy likes that kind of disarray. That
white light's
clutter,
better, but
that anger.
The negative energy it manifests faster.
Right. Go ahead. I just wanted to say that. So the listeners kind of have a visual of what...
What I kind of felt as soon as I walked in, I forgot what movie that was, where like because it was almost like Spider Girl, or like, like the girl like walking like...
Dude, that was The Exorcist,
the
Spider Walk. The deleted scene.
Don't want to say that, but... I don't know, it's so weird. As soon as like I walked in, I got the feel, and when my head's hurting, and I looked, and her eyes, and her movements.
Whose eyes?
Dee's.
Explain it. Explain it.
It kind of scared the shit out of me. I mean, we didn't actually, like, this is the weird thing. We probably didn't even mention this. As soon as we got to the house, Joey's like, I got a weird. I don't want to go in.
You did tell me that.
I don't want to go in.
JoJo was
and I'm like, and I kind of felt uncomfortable, but I'm like, let's go in. It's gonna be fine. But as soon as we walked in, it was like just like an awkward, like stale, like it was a weird feel. And then we walked in, and like as soon as I saw her, the eyes and the movements, and I was just like, ooh, it was just like a little off, kind of. And I didn't know if it's something attached with her. I don't know if she's manifesting that,
Typically, girls. I mean, if you're talking poltergeist activity, stuff like that, it's and the person manifesting, they're older.
Yeah,
and they're older, 12,
but
13, 14.
Yeah, but I know I hear things like it's like your mind could like bend spoons, or you know what I mean. It's just like weird shit. But I'm trying to get a feel. There's something going on, 100%. Okay, I don't know if it's attached to her. I don't know if it's attached to the mama. I don't know if it's the house. But there was something weird. And, I mean, Dave, did you like her movements and stuff? Did you notice any of that at all?
I mean, not really. She just seemed like kind of a an unusual little girl that kind of is wrapped up in her own things. It doesn't seem like she has a lot of like real human friends. So. Yeah, she's definitely different,
But what I got is she's standoffish because of
with you,
Dave and I,
right?
And trust me, and there's a reason in corporate in the world why people do what they do and they are what they are, and they don't even know it because they're people readers. You're people readers. It's like, I mean, we're a little bit deeper and we understand that, but like body movements, or it's like, oh, you know what that guy's talking about over there? Oh, see, she's unhappy because she's touching her hair or this or that. Yeah. It's like we're a little deeper than that, And I got a good feel of people, and what's going on, and I felt that she was standoffish of us. I don't know why she liked Joey. Is that a bad thing?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Because he's another child?
Yeah, I think that has.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, look at the way my kids gravitate towards him.
No.
I mean, they love him.
Whatever's attached to her is their reason they want. It's okay for her to like him, to attach itself to him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's younger. Yeah. To manipulate.
Or there's something about him that.
Yes, and that energy that we have. Like, I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but for an example, what the hell is that? That show on HBO, True Blood. Where, and I said this before, where it's like when the vampires ate the fairies. It's like it's
superpower, yeah, charge, yeah.
People like us.
Energy.
I mean, if energy feeds off of people like us, it's a supercharge. I don't know.
So what you're saying is you're a fairy.
Yeah, I'm a fairy for your mouth
Nice.
or your butt.
Jojo, it looked like you had something to say there. It looked like you were putting the mic up to your mouth.
Well, I was debating on telling a story about, the first time we ever went to the house.
To the house in question. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the night we actually ended up going home from Batchelor's.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dream about the house. I told my dad this, and I think I only told my grandma Shirley, because they're like the only people I really trust with this.
Stop calling me Shirley.
Tell them about Grandma Shirley.
I don't. There's not really much to say. I just.
Well, and why you tell her. Because you trust her and what she does, too.
Well, I guess I could say ever since maybe this year, not 2017, but ever since the beginning of 2016, or like the past couple years of my life, I've just had this really strong connection and bond with her.
Okay, that's a good thing.
And she's also very psychic.
Aha.
Like, she also experiences a lot of stuff. I don't know if I ever said this story on the podcast, but I had a dream about this girl with blonde hair. She came up to me in this hallway, and she was crying, and I was, oh my God, what the heck? Because she came out of nowhere. And her mouth, like everything in her mouth was just, it looked like vomit. I ended up walking through the rest of the basement hallway.
In the dream?
Yeah, in the dream, and it's my grandparents' house. I open it up, and there's like this little room. You know what I'm talking about, like the little band room?
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Everything in there is gone. It's not how it was. It's maybe how it used to be before. I don't know. But I remember seeing this bed that I've never seen before in the middle of there. And the same girl that I'm seeing standing right next to me, she's laying down on that bed. And I look at both of them, and I realize... And then I ended up asking her, I was like, oh, my God, did you die? And she's like, yeah. I don't remember anything after that, but I do remember, like, walking around and seeing... I remember seeing a picture of her, a man, and then a wife.
Okay.
I guess that was kind of the rest of my dream. It was just a bunch of nonsense. You know how dreams scatter.
But you remember that one part, and it's pretty significant.
Yeah, and then I ended up telling my grandma Shirley about it the next day, and she told me, yeah, I see the exact same girl you're talking about. But the weird thing is she says that every time she sees her, she can't see her face.
Now, did this little girl that you've seen in your dream, did she look at all like Dee Dee?
No.
Okay. I would have fallen off my chair if she did.
No, well, all right. For a long time, my grandma, she don't tell anyone because she's getting older. She's like, all right, people are going to think I'm crazy. She don't want to scare people or going on.
They're going to lock me up.
Yeah. But she wakes up, and my grandma is one that she sees things and she dreams things. And my grandpa, he was a feeler, like Dave and I. You know, like it's like we feel the energy, which is weird. So it's like I'm like locked in that combo of it. But
and Joey's the result of it.
Well, and now what's he gonna have? You know, I'm just finding out now.
I'm really curious. I know this is way off the subject. Does your mom, JoJo, ever talk about stuff like this? Have feelings or?
Well, she notices when stuff goes on around the house, but not, like, strongly feels, no. I know she dreams like crazy, though. She fluidly lucid dreams, and she says it's a blessing and a curse. Because sometimes she'll wake up in the middle of the night, like, sweating and crying because, like, nightmares and stuff, or...
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. Go ahead, Joe.
No, but my grandma used to tell me all the time. She's like, after my great grandma died, and all right, my great grandma, her mother, used to live in the city. She wound up moving in with my grandma after she sold her building, just so they could live together, and it's just easier. They're older. A little bit before my great grandma died, she was another one that would see things and dream things, just like my grandma. But she's like, I'm probably not going to be here too much longer. I keep on having dreams of my family members that have died. They're telling me like to come. And it was all her past family that have died, and like my grandma's like, oh great, and like we heard stories. 2 weeks later, after she's having all these dreams about all these family members that died, she died.
Oh.
After my great grandma died, my grandma started seeing this girl around the house. Because my grandma
Is this the same girl that JoJo sees?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Well, this is. I know that's why I had to explain this.
Okay, I got it. We're getting off the rails.
We totally are.
We got to get back. We got to circle back around to the house, Dee Dee, Junie.
Yeah.
How does this all relate?
I don't know. But
that's crazy though. That it's the same girl.
But maybe what I'm thinking, and actually I might be able to relate this to it. So my grandma she closes her eyes, she takes little naps on the couch, wakes up, and in that dream state, like I say, as soon as you come out of it, boom, you see stuff, and she'll see this blonde girl, but she can't see the face. Joey at the other house saw the face.
No, when you say other house.
Yeah, and my parents' house is next door to my grandma's house.
Okay.
So my grandparents and my parents live next door to each other. So he's sleeping there.
What I thought was weird was in my dream, like I said, I'm pretty sure she died from a disease because when I was in the hallway, I saw her mouth. There was all this stuff all over her mouth. What I think is really weird is that obviously she's not showing my grandmother her face, maybe because she doesn't want to scare her.
Yeah.
To show her, like, who she really is or how she died, because that's what she's like.
Right.
Well, and
I just think it's funny how it all relates.
This is where I'm getting at. I'm going to sum it up in like 2 seconds.
We have to, yeah. We have to take a break.
So all right. So basically, my grandma saw this girl. Joey is seeing this girl. My grandma said that there was actually a lady that had 2 girls that lived in the house a long time ago, besides the priest that she sees and hears and all that stuff.
Before, yeah.
But this goes back to even me. When I was little, when I would see stuff at the house, I would be tortured or woken up by spirits or entities, and I would be. I mean, yeah, tortured's a freaking great word because this is all my childhood dealt with. And but I was open to this stuff, and maybe relating to all this, maybe Dee, okay, she is open to this shit. So if there is a lost soul or an unhappy unrest, that they're trying to go to her and to find her, and they're attached and leeched onto her, and because I don't know if they're feeding off her. I don't know if they're wanting, hey, help me. That's why people run, or the spirits, ghosts run on people like us, because they want help. They want questions. Who could they go to? Or maybe like Dee Dee. And that's what, yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad JoJo opened the door there. That was really interesting. We got to take a break. We got to kind of bring that the episodes of the podcast called The Family Possessed, Part 1 and 2. We got to bring it to a close. Where do we leave off with them? What do you guys think? Do you think, as Dave mentioned, that with the breakup of the estranged father and the girlfriend took place, Dee Dee is now purging herself of these fantasies, to lack of a better word, or energies? and it's kind of coming to a close.
Basically, what I think's going to happen with it is we went in, we felt the house. Number 2, we came in, then we felt out her, and now they're going to move. Okay?
Right.
We'll see what happens when they move.
So it's kind of ongoing.
Yes.
It's still ongoing.
And I have those dolls.
Yeah,
I would
and
say
you took the dolls, yeah.
Let's give it 6 months to a year. And
Unless they need us sooner.
Yeah, and see what happens once they move and settle into a new place. If it comes with them. Or... Actually, you know what? I'm going to make sure... Well, I stay in touch with her anyways.
Good.
Brooke, I talk to her
Brooke's
pretty
awesome.
regularly. So once she gets into her new place, I'll go by, maybe with Joe, just to check it out, see if there's anything there. And, to see if it's clean, if you will.
Right.
Just to touch base a little bit.
But if we can go into our new place and see that it's clear when they move in, and then 6 months later it's haunted again, then we know that there's something going on.
Yeah.
And that was another thing too with the dolls. Like I took number 1. It was like Christmas times 10.
Well, she's probably listening. Brooke is probably listening,
Yeah,
so here you can tell her.
Thank you,
Hey,
Brooke.
Brooke.
You don't understand how happy I am. I'm like,
Thank you, Brooke. Very nice. You made Joe happy.
Yes. but and number 2, it's could I bring that back? I mean, we'll see if anything happens at my house from it. Like, what if there is something attached to it?
Well, we'll see.
And
it's going to be hard to tell because there's stuff going on at your house.
Yeah.
The dolls come.
There's a lot of people that will not buy antiques just because of that, because they don't want to bring home that attachment.
Well, everyone knows. Everyone
Yeah.
knows that dolls come alive at night and stab you in the face with scissors while you sleep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but those are the ones from Japan.
What was that old trilogy of terror? The Zuni doll, the fetish doll.
Oh no,
Corbin Burnson?
Was it Corbin Burnson? Well, who was it? Karen
no, that
Black.
was-
What was that?
that was
I know
Tales
they had
from
the
the Hood
80s
that I'm
movie
thinking of.
dolls.
Tales from the Hood. Trilogy of Terror, the Zuni fetish doll. Google it. And with that, we'll be back. Let's see. I don't know who's choosing the music for this episode.
I'll do it.
How about JoJo?
We'll
have you
be
ever
back.
chosen music?
I don't think JoJo... Oh, he has. Yes, he has.
Katie hasn't.
Kate Sparrow is here. We will be back right after this. Let's see what music she chooses.
Por el camino del desierto, el viento me despeina, su aroma de colita, nada de la vida.
And we're back. That was... I forgot what that was the Hotel California by the Gypsy Kings, as chosen by my wife, Kate Sparrow. Thank you for that choice. How did I forget that real quick? Oh, yeah, it was that last shot. Listeners of the SOS-Radio podcast, I just want to remind you, right now, our new sponsor, Audible, is offering a free audiobook download along with a free 30-day trial to give you, our listeners, the opportunity to check out their service. Just head on over to audibletrial.com/SOS Radio. That's audibletrial.com/SOS Radio. No dash, listeners. Oscar Spector, what are you listening to on Audible right now?
So I listen to Audible like 50 billion times a year. So I have a recommendation for everyone in the horror genre, horror dystopian future genre. It's a book called The Girl with All the Gifts. It is actually being made into a movie. It's coming out later on this year. Let me read the description for you guys if you guys are interested.
I'm interested.
In the future, a strange fungus has changed nearly everyone into a thoughtless flesh-eating monster, aka zombies. When a scientist and a teacher find a girl who seems to be immune to the fungus, they all begin a journey to save humanity. Now, the girl is not immune the way you think. The girl is actually a zombie, and they're retroactively teaching these zombies' children how to be human again.
Wow, that's different.
Yes, there's very different twist to the zombie lore, and that's what really appealed to me when I first heard about it.
Awesome. And what was the name of that book again?
The Girl with All the Gifts.
Listeners, The Girl with All the Gifts. If you head on over to audibletrial.com/SOS Radio, you could download that audiobook for free. You get a free $15 credit for signing up with our URL, with our link. So why don't you go ahead and do it? We're back. JoJo, I realize we kind of cut him off. He's got a real quick story just to kind of bring the Family Possessed podcast episodes to a close. JoJo, what were you going to say?
I was going to talk about my dream, and somehow we got into a big conversation with my great-grandma. And
It tends to go off the rails around here, JoJo. You got to help us stay in line.
All right. But I was going to talk about the first night after I went to the place. I had a dream about it.
A dream about this house, this possessed house, Junie, Dee Dee, Brooke.
Yeah,
right?
It was weird because at the time I never saw Dee, but she was in my dream. It was basically just me walking throughout the house. People were just sitting down, talking, normal. I would go into Dee's bedroom, and her older sister, like the middle-aged child.
Yeah, that's right. There were three, right? There were three sisters, right?
There was this bed in the middle of their room. I was on one end of the bed, and my feet were facing towards the closet. The middle-aged child was on the other side. Her back was facing the closet. Her feet were facing me.
When you say middle-aged child, you mean she's like a 45-year-old man?
Come on. We got to get back in line.
No, she was. I don't know how old she is, but
No, the middle child is 10.
all right.
So they're 4, 10, and 17.
Okay, well, the 10-year-old child was laying with me on the bed.
Pause for effect.
Pause for effect. Nice, Oscar. Nice. Don't drink in podcast.
I don't really know.
13.
I don't really know what we were doing, but 14. I remember seeing Dee standing right behind me. I look at her. Her face was just blank, and then she points at the open closet. And then I turn over to the open closet, and I remember seeing just like something standing there, and I getting this really weird feel, and then running out of the room.
I just got, we're all joking, having a good time, coming back from break. You literally just gave me the chills.
Yeah, I remember waking up and I'm like, oh my God.
So you said you had never seen Dee Dee before. When you actually met Dee Dee,
she looked exactly like she did in the dream,
oh my
which was
God,
weird.
There you go.
Like, I have that. I don't know if you guys have that, where I'll have a dream that I've never, about a person that I haven't seen in a long time, and then the next day I'll see them and they look the exact same. That's exactly how it was, and it really made me question about whether there's something in the closets. Maybe that's where she hides. I don't know what the closet had to do with it, but it definitely grows a chill up my spine.
It's like weird, like extra sensitive, like telepathic. I mean, who knows? It's like that gift.
Well, for listeners just joining, we are recapping the last 5 or 6 episodes since we've all been together under the same roof on the SOS-Radio podcast. And that was JoJo Erie talking about the Family Possessed episodes of the podcast. That's pretty eerie, man. That's pretty creepy.
How awesome. Eerie?
Oh, yeah. I didn't catch that. No pun intended.
Wait, really? I thought you did it on purpose.
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
And maybe part 3, Family Possessed.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that this case isn't officially closed.
Yeah,
we're going to keep our finger on the pulse.
If there ever is.
We're going to keep in touch with Brooke, and once the move is complete and they're in their new home.
A cool name, like you mentioned, Family Possessed.
Yeah, that's what I named the episodes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's hope we don't meet another family possessed.
Yeah, that's episode 33 and episode 30 for listeners who want to catch up. I do want to keep things moving. We're spending a lot of time here. We had some great guests after the Family Possessed episodes. We had Mr. Randy Tucker, owner-operator of SomewhereOutThereRadio.com. We had Mr. Stephen Roberts, corruption-exposing journalist, government conspiracy expert, and radio personality on the SOS-Radio podcast. And we had Mr. Jason Yancey, glacial erratic expert. I just want to catch up, see what you guys thought about those episodes. They were great episodes. I got a lot of good feedback. Let's start with Mr. Randy Tucker from SomewhereOutThereRadio.com. When he was on talking about aliens, UFOs, abduction stories, string theory, Planet X, Anunnaki, and more. Joe, what did you think of Randy Tucker?
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, all the stuff that we always talk about, and it's like, I mean, and it's like I tell you, it's I mean, it's basically like another me, you know.
You and Randy are definitely kindred spirits. I want to get you and Randy on the same episode because I know how you love the alien portion of what we do, what we talk about here on the podcast. That is Randy's forte. So I definitely want to get you guys together to geek out over aliens.
Yeah,
Randy's had alien experiences.
Yeah,
he's seen UFOs,
and also
he's been to Area 51,
like us, you know. And it's just why do we have these gifts that we think we do, or you know, or we do, you know? Are we hybrid, or what are we? Why do we have these?
When
gifts?
you say we, you mean people like you, like Dave,
and you.
Arguably.
Hey,
I don't want to admit it.
The audience don't know, but we actually came to a conclusion, or something kind of funny recently.
What was that?
About how we sleep every night.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, this was strange.
Uh-huh. We actually sleep with beanies over our eyes to cover our eyes.
I cannot sleep unless I have something on my head and over my eyes, no matter how dark the room is.
But I actually I sleep better. I don't wake up as much. And something I did.
You had a theory about this.
Yeah, and yes. But also, I don't know if I even told you this. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, the beanie's missing, okay? And it's in the corner of my bed. It's folded in a certain area. JoJo's
confirming this, like...
And I talked to my grandma about that. My grandfather... that felt, and he did the same thing. I mean, hey, maybe it's an Italian thing, you know?
We are Italian.
Who knows?
For me, when I the only way I can sleep is I take a pillowcase with like a zipper on it, and I have to fill it with like thousands of live mealworms.
I thought for a second he was going to relate.
They'll massage my head while I sleep.
Doesn't the sound, the crinkling sound, keep you awake?
It gives me terrifying dreams, which is nice. And every once in a while I have to like throw a whole potato inside the pillow to feed them. And then eventually they eventually pupate, turn into beetles, and then chew through the pillowcase, and it's a big whole thing, and then I have to move to a new place and start over.
Oscar, how do you sleep? So when I sleep and my wife
with my eyes closed. Jesus, people.
Actually, honestly,
just sleep?
Yeah, Oscar doesn't sleep.
When I do sleep, my cat. I have this big fat cat, and
is it shaved?
No, I don't. I never liked cats, and then I met this cat that just like bonded with me right away.
Shit.
Whenever I see, his name is Pogo, and he's really fat and awesome.
Wait, so it's a male cat.
But whenever I see a stray animal, I always I'll always try to like talk to it, or I was driving through the parking lot of the Sears by my old house, and I saw this cat like hopping up and down on the little center island in the parking lot, like chasing a bug or something. And I pulled over and I'm like, oh, hey there, little guy. And usually you say hi to a cat, it's gonna fucking run off, you know?
Absolutely.
But this cat,
or scratch you.
I was kind of like kneeling down, I was like squatting down, and he came over. He jumped out of the bushes. He came over to me and he like rubbed his legs, his body all over my legs, and then he walked behind me and jumped in the open door of my car. And I'm like, oh, I guess I have a cat now. and he's been with me ever since. And I did not. I never liked cats until I met this cat.
I never known you to like cats.
And
did you grab the cat with one hand?
He came up to me and he was like, "I want to hang out with you." And so every night, he literally will literally climb as close to my face as possible, and will sleep right on my head or on my shoulder.
Maybe that's just animals, or is it like us? Like my animals,
but
they sleep like on my neck and on my face.
But I can't sleep unless there's something next to me. So even when I'm in
I'm the exact
when
same
I'm in
way.
like a hotel. I have to put a pillow next to me just to
I'm
feel like
I'm in a hotel 3 to 4 times a week. I have to have something next to me, pushed right against me.
Yeah, it just makes me feel comfortable or whatever.
Exactly.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
I just close my eyes.
But Joe and I, we have that thing where my room, is pitch black. There's no alarm clock. There's no lights. There isn't a TV. There's nothing. Pitch black. I still have to have something over my face, over my eyes,
And distraction, too.
To sleep. Yeah, and I sleep with a sound machine.
Man, vibration.
But, Joe, you had
I actually have to sleep with a Miami sound machine playing at all times.
I knew you were going to say
Come
that.
on, chicken bada baby, do the conga. But, Joe, you had a theory about this, about the eyelids, about the extrasensory perception, and blocking that out while we sleep.
And this was like 3 days ago. I'm like, you know what, man? All right, so I'm training this new guy at work, okay? And he's a conspiracy guy. Super intelligent, man. I mean, I'm like, whoa, like, it's awesome. We're just feeding. Blah, 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 blah.
Now, remember, we're talking about Randy Tucker and Somewhere Out There Radio and aliens.
Yeah.
How does this relate?
Okay, well then, and because we
It's not going to relate.
Like, we start talking about, like, I know it's on, but like the Nazis and the Vril Society and like the long-haired psychics and like the colored eyes and stuff.
You're right.
And right. He's like, you know what?
She was long hair, very long hair.
Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so like my friend I'm training at work, this guy Sean. Okay, he has like really long dreads. Okay, and
what color is his hair?
Black.
Okay.
But like, okay, so like, and we're just going back and forth of, you know, like we're like it's like literally like I don't relate to anybody like more about like politics or like what's going on like than him. Like right now I'm like, holy shit, it's awesome, you know?
Right.
But we start getting like I'm telling about like the Vril Society, like about like the long haired like psychics from like.
No, you're right.
Oh.
The Vril, exactly.
Yeah.
The Nazi Vril.
Well, yeah, but like basically like like they're from like from Austria. They I mean, do you want me to explain this really quick or?
Well, I mean, listeners got to realize that
Okay.
after the World War, a lot of these Nazi scientists, engineers, Werner von Braun, they were brought to the United States. Google something called Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
The
look at
Vril,
NASA,
the Nazi Vril.
For example.
You could see a
NASA.
picture of the Nazi Vril on somewhereoutthereradio.com underneath UFOs. This was supposed
supposedly
alien technology
they're
brought
the ones that
over
told
from
the
Nazi
Nazis how to make
Germany
everything.
to the United States.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Vril
NASA,
women.
dude.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
You know, it's theorized that the Red Skull, he was a part alien.
Oh man,
And Operation
All right,
Staple
So not
really
like
is
I mean
pretty boring.
I could have like a freaking 8-hour conversation about this. Okay, but the Vril Society, like from Austria.
Hail Hydra.
Okay, so they were a group of psychics that wanted to get funded. They needed money. The Knights Templar, the U.S. I mean, they were asking who's going to fund us. Who's going to fund us? It just so happened the Nazis fund them the most. Okay. And they were in all that stuff, so they went with the Nazis. And that's not even saying that they believed 100%, but they went with them because they funded them, okay? So that's what happened. But they believed that the longer the hair, the longer the antenna, you know?
You're right.
And
That's right.
So basically, like, like the longer the hair you had, you know, the longer the antenna, the more you can communicate with, you know, these other entities, the world, aliens, blah. So they thought they supposedly communicated with this one alien race, and that's where they got NASA and all this other shit. You know, blah 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 blah. I'm doing it quick, you know. Mm-hmm. But crazy now that I think about it, what did the Nazis do to the Jews as soon as they captured them?
Well, they sent them away to concentration.
Well, they did, and then they cut their hair off. Okay, and what did Native Americans do?
Scalp.
Yeah. Okay, and why? And I'm like, holy shit, man, this is crazy because it makes so much sense. And you start looking up all this other stuff, and it's like maybe there's a reason of it. And then
wasn't there a Samson in the Bible?
There was a Samson in the Bible.
And
the
then
hair.
he cut his hair to.
It kind of makes a little sense. And then I start looking in because well, obviously you know me, the internet and the world don't yet, but I'm very into native, you know, like just different cultures. Okay, so there's all these different races around the world that the blue-eyed race, you know,
blue-eyed, blonde hair,
and this is from all continents, you know. I mean, if we want to break down, like we're like Atlantis and you know where everything supposedly started and this and that, but even like Native Americans or like in South America or like Asia, like they're like this blue-eyed culture, and they were the supremes, that you know, and they were like, so I mean maybe we're a species, who knows? Why is Dave assing himself to me right now? He's rubbing his butt cheeks on me. Okay, so I mean I didn't say I didn't like it, but this blue-eyed culture, and what is it with these blue eyes? And then I'm finding out that blue eyes, it's a mutation. Okay, like it's not natural. Blue eyes are a mutation. Okay, right. So it's not natural.
Well, you just said that.
Huh?
You just said that.
I know, but and then the guy I'm talking to at work, he's like, dude. He's like, but you know what blue eyes like do? Like they take in more sun, and because we're talking about vitamins and this and that, and you know like how like allergic I am all the time, and I'm extra sensitive to this and that, and I'm like, holy shit! So basically, maybe we're taking in so much light.
You are blue-eyed
because you are. Katie is.
Yeah, green.
Most, huh?
I'm green, but that's okay.
I think you're more like a midnight blue, but it's that you're building in more light. What is sunlight? Vitamin D, you know, and
right.
Are we processing processing light differently than most? Like, I mean, there's something going on with. I don't even know how to explain it.
So is this why we need to block that stuff at night when we sleep?
Yeah, because
do you put tinfoil inside of your hat when you put it over?
There we go. The ever skeptic.
I haven't figured it out yet, man. I don't know. I thought maybe our eyelids were maybe thinner, and because like when I close my eyes, I can kind of see through them. I can see like the blood, or you know, like I like it's like there's like a light. Like still through it, maybe we blue-eyed could see a little bit deeper. Like I'm 2010. I don't know about but could see like a little bit more different dimensions. Or I mean, looking for cats, they could see through. See at night. I mean, like we're all here for different reasons. Kind of, we're all the same, but. Different things do different people do different things, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we taking in more sunlight and then at night it's creating a chemical reaction in our brain? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, but episode 31, listeners, that's the episode with Randy Tucker from Somewhere Out There Radio. Very knowledgeable, UFOs, aliens, conspiracy. Check it out. We talked about Planet X. Planet X is supposedly it's coming. They're talking about 2017 that it's going to be seen by telescopes.
Yeah, supposedly they found it they saw it a couple times.
You know, some of the precursors to that is massive space debris. You know, rocks, meteorites plummeting towards Earth. Strange pulls against the Earth, strange tidal activity.
Look what's happening with weather now.
I mean, well, no, not even. Let's talk about what happened less than a week ago in the Midwest with that massive comet that was seen and exploded over the Midwest.
Michigan.
Just the green thing that everyone was saying?
Yeah, huge.
Oh, we watch everything. We watch everything.
It looked like a nuclear explosion in the sky.
You know what?
So I'm not saying that's Planet X, but they are saying 2017 is the year that we will be able to observe Planet X or Nibiru from here, from our little blue planet.
And that's a prime example.
And some of the precursors are going to be what we are seeing right now. And just last night, you know, we're recording this on February 11th. Just last night, well, I guess technically early this morning, we had the lunar eclipse. We had the comet that blasted across, and the snow moon.
We
So,
also had the total eclipse of the heart.
the total eclipse of the heart.
And
That's right.
let alone our weather is
So-
180.
And the weather's all crazy, right? So that's kind of the stuff that Randy was talking about. That was another episode where I received a lot of positive feedback. So we're going to have him back. I want to have Joe and Randy together to alien it out on a podcast. We also talked to Mr. Stephen Roberts, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. Talking about human dematerialization and prophetic dreams. Who here listened to that episode?
I'm raising my hand.
Oscar, you listened to it.
Well, yeah.
Where humans are not necessarily always solid beings.
Yeah, there's a nice Fringe episode, a show called Fringe from Fox, that did that, kind of experimented with, they had this machine where they did vibrations at certain frequencies with human beings being able to pass through solid wall because of our matter, not solid really. Nothing's really solid.
Nothing's really solid, exactly.
I mean, we're all a bunch of atoms, and the space between us is filled with a bunch of other atoms.
We're all matter, and even though this table seems solid, in reality it isn't. And Stephen Roberts had a particular scenario when he was younger, angry at the world. He was on a motorcycle, and he was flying down a highway, not caring one way or the other if he lived or died as he was flying down this highway. And he found himself drifting at breakneck speeds into oncoming traffic, and he couldn't turn out. He couldn't pull out, and there was a car headed towards him. Next thing you know, he looks up. He's in the same lane. The car's behind him. He went through the car.
I've heard a lot of stories of people getting like head-on collisions, and everyone closes their eyes and they wake up on the opposite side of each other.
That's exactly what happened to Stephen Roberts.
What just happened?
What do you think about that?
I don't even know, like... Well, first of all, it's obviously these are all accounts that you're just hearing about, so who knows if they're real or not. Secondly, if this is a phenomenon, if this is a thing, it almost makes you wonder if, when put into these super high-stress situations, if... I'd hate to bring up a really kind of dumb movie, Jumper. Did you ever see that movie, Jumper?
Yeah, I've seen Jumper, yeah.
But that's how he discovered his power, is he was about to drown in a lake, and then he woke up. He was able to teleport to the library, but it was something that was involuntary that happened to him. So I almost feel like there might be something in the human
there are a lot of
brain
examples
that allows us to kind of skip over actual time and space.
Well, but
in
also
microseconds.
They say we live in the physical world.
Oh, right.
And for example,
I live in the material world, and I'm a material girl.
I'm a material Dave.
There's a theme of 80s music.
You're up on your pop culture references today, David.
Yeah,
I'm out of beer. That's a problem.
I don't know who's hotter, Dave or Madonna. I think it's
now it's probably me.
51-49.
So, but I mean, Stephen Roberts. He's out there. He's well known. He's a radio personality. He's a voiceover artist. He's a well known.
I'm curious to know, like this motorcycle story. Was he able to talk to the other driver after this happened?
He was not. He was not.
They just
kept on going.
What they say is, right now, we're living in the physical world, okay? Right. Aliens, they live in the non-physical because they've already adapted and they're above that, okay?
They were born there.
People like us, we're more in the physical, but we're starting to tap into the non-physical because we're evolving. But in our subconscious, and because how much percent of the brain we use? What, 18? Is that even more?
That's it's not a real measurement. But
I don't know even what this. No one knows.
8 to 10%.
Let's just and I'm giving it a high, 8 to 10. Let's say we use 20% of our brain. Okay.
It's not really the brain.
20% of our brain. What's the other part do?
But it's not really. It's not really quantified that way, because when you say brain, you're talking about brain function of like the controlling the nervous system and your breathing and your blood flow and your heart rate and your all that.
And you also
other
talk
stuff.
about that movie Lucy.
Lucy. Oh, what a
Well, yeah,
horror.
but all that stuff basically controls itself. There's no thought to it.
Horrible
But
movie.
it's with thoughts.
Well, you were talking about not so much your brain, but your mind.
Right.
Your
brain,
thought
your mind,
processes.
your
The thought process is part of your brain.
Where is this going?
Jesus.
Not sure where this is going.
Okay.
But I did want to bring up that.
But they say if we ever tapped into
Episode 32.
if we ever got to 50% of our thought process, not brain, thought process, that
We could do some pretty extraordinary things. Yeah.
Telepathic and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and who knows what happened in that crucial moment of time when he found himself in head-on traffic, going breakneck speeds on a motorcycle. He couldn't turn out. And he found himself on the other side of the car unharmed.
This is
And you also get the same thing with that mother that lifted a car to save her daughter, right?
Thank you.
Right, exactly.
And that's exactly. I was going to say. There you go. Like the time. It's like. What
But
do
in
you
her
do?
defense, the car was like
your
really
mind and
weightless.
body takes over. Boom. That time. Okay, he's going to get an accident. It takes over. It's almost like a panic attack or something. It's like boom.
Or did he die
over.
in that accident, and everything
back.
after that accident is
Yes.
a dream, including us?
Yes.
We'll never know.
That'd be shitty. We're like minor cast.
What
Episode 32, Prophetic Dreams, Human Dematerialization, and Conspiracy Theory with Stephen Roberts.
What was the last interview? The glacial?
Yeah, Jason Yancey, Episode 34, Glacial Erratics. Now, Jason Yancey is a gentleman we met during our Bridgewater Triangle adventure in Episode 26, live from Dighton Rock.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Well, yeah, you did a good job, considering the horrible audio we gave you.
I remember on the long walk back to the car, there's like it was like probably a couple blocks to walk across this field back to the parking lot from the rock. And I sparked up a conversation with him as we were walking, and he started telling me about his experiences with the UFO when he was a 9-year-old kid.
Yep. So
and I was like, wow, we want to get this on the show. And
and
sat down at the
here he
picnic
is.
table with him, and
Sat down at the picnic table. He's a regular contributor to our Into Infinity magazine, our monthly newsletter that listeners could sign up for by simply going to sos-radio.com. It was a real serendipitous meeting. I mean, if we hadn't been at Dighton Rock that day, at the time we were, it would have been closed. They kept it open for us. Mm-hmm. And Jason Yancey happened to wander in. And we weren't there. He wouldn't have been able to get in. The museum would have been closed. All this activity that we've had with him since would never have happened. So it's really strange. The world knows, as I like to say. But I got to interview him about his research in episode 34, our very last episode of the podcast. All the way from New Hampshire, we talked about his study into this phenomenon called glacial erratics. And a lot of listener emails on this one. People liked it. He was talking about his research, the stuff he's finding, the energy that he feels could be harnessed from these erratics, that ancient man left us a form of free energy, free, clean energy, if you will.
The funny thing is, it basically what he's talking about, it's how supposedly Egypt used to run it, what Tesla was talking about.
Right, and we did talk about Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing is, these erratics that he's finding are similar all across the United States and the world. We're talking Russia, Italy,
Yep.
the UK.
And what he tapped into that
The Middle East.
no one talks about is the Native Americans.
He doesn't know where they're coming from. That's his quest, is to find out who,
what.
why.
He found that the Native Americans had these structures, and
he doesn't go so far as to say they're exactly Native American.
Oh,
someone made these structures.
So it could be
because
pre.
Science tells us that they're glacier, that a glacier picked these monoliths up millions of years ago.
I did not know that.
Drove them across the planet and just discarded them haphazardly. And he's arguing,
no way.
No, it's not possible.
There is no way, because we saw pictures. No way.
We've seen pictures, right?
That's the personal preference.
Right, exactly. There's too much similarity across the world in these monoliths. The way they're placed, the way they're balanced. massive.
And we saw how
We're talking, I don't know how many hundreds, maybe thousands of ton rocks balanced on top of much smaller rocks, in places where people, machinery, cranes, whatever, would never been able to get to place these monoliths. And the energy that these monoliths produce. If you remember in that episode when we met him, the Dighton Rock episode, he challenged us to take 2 pieces of quartz, and I did it. I did this challenge and just kind of gently glide one over the other. One piece of quartz was sitting on a bench, on a picnic table, and I would take the other piece of quartz and just move it across it, just ever so slowly. And I felt that heartbeat, that thump-thump, that energy, and it freaked me out. And listeners could hear my reaction.
almost like 2 magnets, like where it pushes
but it's
away.
quartz. It's something you find on a beach, So,
That's so crazy.
What he's saying is, imagine that energy I felt with those little tiny pieces of rock times 1,000 with these monolith boulders. The energy that these boulders could produce, and it's called piezoelectricity. And what he's arguing is that was a form of free energy that these early peoples had discovered that we've now forgot about.
Or they
really
made us forget about.
One of the things,
Or made us forget about. Yeah.
Exactly.
One of the things that's fascinating to me is like the first cars that ever existed were electric cars.
It said
They were like crank up cars.
That's right. And it said that Tesla himself had a power station at Niagara Falls that would create this form of electricity that would power a car miles away. And that car would drive based on this water-driven technology that was being produced at Niagara Falls.
Tesla's whole thing was the electricity would travel through the air, like remotely.
Well, the free-flowing energy. The free-flowing energy. All right, so basically Tesla and, not Einstein, but the guy who made, who were using...
Edison?
Huh?
Thomas Edison?
Are you talking about Gary Glitter?
No, Gary Glitter. I love
Thomas Edison.
Hey, Edison and Tesla. There was a big competition.
Oh, absolutely.
Of who's going to have the biggest, or the best energy. Okay, it was a competition.
Absolutely.
J.P. Morgan, he funded it, and Tesla was winning. He made the best. But all of a sudden, when J.P. Morgan found out that Tesla wanted to do a free for everybody
energy
and
source,
he couldn't make money from it, sorry, buddy, I'm going to unfund you. Yeah. And then he went with Edison.
Well, I mean, when Tesla died, his research
everything got stolen,
confiscated, classified, supposedly destroyed. Yeah, he got the shaft. But that's what Jason Yancey is talking about, that these early primitive people, well, what we consider primitive, what we think of were primitive were actually not. And that they had figured out a way for free, clean electricity for all, power for all, based on these monolithic structures.
Have you ever looked,
if you took away oil, or what would happen? Like gasoline, oil?
We could cripple the economy. We could get to the moon. You could tell me we can't power a car on anything other than oil and fuel.
But the thing is, it's control.
Right.
It would
exactly.
cripple the economy.
So his goal is to find and reintroduce this energy to the world. He's discovered over 250,000 miles of 3-foot stone walls throughout the United States. Now, I think our planet is 25,000 miles to circle our planet. This is 250,000 miles of stone walls that have been discovered that archaeologists and scientists tell us were merely farmers discarding stones they found in their fields that formed this wall, which is complete BS. He's found these walls that would circle the Earth 10 times. And oftentimes these walls lead directly to these monolithic structures. They'll point directly, these walls will end at a monolithic structure and then continue on to another monolithic structure. Not simply farmers discarding stones in their field. A lot of times at these monolithic sites, there's burial pits found. There's artifacts found. There's ancient burn pits found where they find.
And that goes back to what you all like. I mean, like I remember like when I started, getting schooled in this type of thing, and you said with ancient Indian burial grounds, it's the thinnest between both worlds, and
exactly.
they knew that.
Exactly, and that's one thing I asked him. I said, Jason, are a lot of these monolithic sites also considered haunted? And he said, absolutely yes. So the energy being produced by these rocks,
and I know that with Egypt,
create
the biggest orb,
warp, if you will, between our world and the next is completely plausible.
And that's why I think
it was a fascinating conversation.
And I always say there's that combo between aliens and ghosts. Because it's in that same realm.
Right.
It's in that same realm. They're not the same, but it's in that same realm.
And that's the whole question. Who were these people that created these monoliths? Were they early human? Were they alien? Were they something else?
Have you guys ever seen this graph? I just sent you copies of this. But
what are we looking at here, Dave?
This is a graph. We can put it on the site. But it shows about basically science advancement throughout the ages and how through the Egyptian, Greek, Roman, Christian Dark Ages, Renaissance, Age of Enlightenment, modern science. And it shows this graph of how humans have advanced throughout history as far as technological advances go. And you can see up to Roman history here, it's
pretty sharp incline.
Yeah. And then you have the Christian Dark Ages, which basically just holds everything for 1,000 years of
completely
non-advancement. And then we get into the Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment, and then it's off the charts up until now. And you think about that, about how religion has affected technological advancement. Even today, there's this anti-science. Like we can't there's. The Noah's Ark thing in Kentucky, where they show they teach you that Jesus rode on dinosaurs and all this crazy nonsense of.
Yeah, but we already have Noah's Ark. It's in Antarctica.
My point is
the new Noah's Ark. You know what I'm talking about, right?
No, that's a good right. So what caused that massive? It's those spikes.
The fact of the matter is that. If we didn't have those dark ages of just suppressing anything that was ungodly or whatever, it's amazing to think where we would be now as a civilization and as a society. It's like, imagine right now, something as simple as Al Gore becoming president in 2001. Imagine how much different our society would be today with renewable energy, with cars, the advancements that we've seen in cars with the Tesla cars and the Prius and all that stuff that has come in the last 15 years. Imagine how much more advanced we would be if we had somebody in the White House that was friendly to that sort of technology. That would invest in that sort of technology. Imagine where we would be as far as solar and wind power and renewables go at this point.
But this is where,
this is how politics, just like you were saying with Edison, this is how politics shapes our technological advancement in society. And now we have Trump, who's bringing in all these, oil conglomerate billionaires, Wall Street guys, all these people that have these huge biases against technological advancement and science, and all the small advances that we have made in the Obama administration of renewable energy and wind and solar, all that's going to go away now. And we're going to go right back to pipelines and digging up coal. It's ridiculous that in the year 2017, there's a guy out there that's saying, we need more coal mines. We need more coal miners. Do we need more stagecoaches and typewriters, too? What the hell do we still need to be digging rocks out of the ground?
Here's my moment to speak now, too. Okay, so Dave made his point.
We're not going to make it too political.
Well, you see my point.
I understand Dave's point 100%, and don't think I don't agree with him, because I do. But he's saying two sides of it. What I'm saying is there's no sides of it. they're fucking playing everybody. You know?
Sure. Well,
And-
hopefully people like Jason Yancey could discover some new form of free,
Yes.
clean energy,
But,
and that might be
but
what
what-
these monoliths are.
What I'm
But
saying
I think we've
is,
all seen the Keanu Reeves movie Chain Reaction, and we
God,
all
I
know
tried to
what
forget.
we all know what happens when you try to provide clean energy to the world.
That's right.
You get murdered.
That's right.
There was a guy in the 70s or 80s that created the go-kart, basically, that ran on water. He found a way to make a car run on water.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like some sort of saltwater converter or whatever.
supposedly there was a car in the 50s that ran on nothing. All right, so
But this guy disappeared. Like he died under mysterious circumstances. He had like a twin brother, and first his twin brother died of mysterious circumstances, and then like a week later he died of mysterious circumstances.
I hear a
And
conspiracy.
nobody knows where the car went. Nobody knows where the engine is.
Wow.
well, all right. And then, like he was saying, supposedly, like in like I think it was in the 50s, they came out with all these new cars. This guy took a car off the lot, and for 2 years he tried filling up with gas, and it wouldn't take the gas. You know, it would stop, but it always ran, even though it was on empty. It still ran, and eventually they found him. Like, hey, we got to take this car back.
What happened to the guy?
Don't know, but you know, I mean, who knows if it's true? Who knows if it's made up? But the government knows.
In the 50s and
they could have done
60s,
this.
in the 50s and 60s, they were doing. Have you ever seen an aqua car?
Oh, God.
No, I
It's
know.
a real
The-
thing.
but the thing is,
it's a car that goes in the water
Yep.
and
I want one.
still
They're
functional.
so expensive.
I've
that's the
seen
one you were telling me you
one.
wanted.
The
I know.
Amphicar,
I
yeah.
saw one come
There's
out
one,
of the water.
There's one here in my neighborhood that
Yeah.
I keep trying to buy.
And the thing
At
is,
the end of the
And in a
day,
James Bond movie.
without oil, without gas, the economy is crippled. You know.
That's right. Well, I hope Jason Yancey can bring it home for us and figure out what these monoliths are. Give us some free energy, Jason. We got to bring this to a close. It's been a super long episode. Folks, that's been a recap of the last episode since we've all been together. Hope you've enjoyed. Any last thoughts? Oscar, any last thoughts, sir?
Well, my last thing here, nothing related to this, of course, but if you do enjoy other podcasts, you can join me and my main one called Another Movie Podcast. We're doing Oscar talk right now because the Oscar season is in full swing.
now is it talk about you?
Yep, the Oscar talk, the Academy Awards. I mean, of course. And we're our last review we did John Wick 2 and
John
the
Wick
founder.
2.
Yeah,
Woo!
The Wickening. I
I
call it.
love the first John Wick.
Yeah, I love
The
it too.
Awakening.
Now, by the time by the time this comes out, that episode will be out, but I haven't seen it right now as of
So
this recording.
another movie podcast.
Right.
Could it be on iTunes?
Yep, it's on iTunes.
Do you
And-
like iTunes reviews?
You know what I do, actually? You gave me a good one. I like
I
yours.
did. I did
Yeah,
give you
I like thank you.
You should give us one.
I did give you one.
I thought your brother gave us one.
No, he did too. We both
Listeners,
did.
give us ratings on iTunes,
That's why we like
SOS-Radio,
it. Yeah.
or Supernatural Occurrence Studies on iTunes. We live and breathe and die by reviews.
That's how we get our comfort at night. That's how we get to sleep.
I can't put my head down unless I know I got a new podcast.
Right, we're talking about eyelids earlier and pillows. No. iTunes ratings and reviews.
iTunes ratings will help us
That's
sleep.
what gets us to sleep.
That's right.
Yep.
How can they find you online?
Online is otherpodcast.com.
Otherpodcast.com.
Right, yeah. Every episode we've ever made is there. It's good.
I heard there's an episode where I guest star.
That's right.
An
Oh my
episode.
God, that's right.
Tell us about that.
So when does this show come out?
So this show will be out. Oh man, I got to pull up my calendar here. This show will be out.
The week.
This will be out. Listeners, pretend you're listening to
I came
music
out
right now.
I came
This
out
will be out
centuries ago.
February 20th. This
The
episode
20th.
is coming out February 20th. What
So
we're doing
it'll
right
be
now.
out by then. So on the 15th is when that comes out.
And what do we talk about in that episode?
It's a bonus episode we recorded way back in October.
Long time.
October. We recorded
October
that shit in
2016.
October. Yeah. It was a part of our bonus episode thing for those who donate to get the bonus episode in advance or that early on. And it comes out for the regular public 5 months later, which is on the 15th of February.
On February 15th.
Yep. It'll come out. And that's the movie Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. Good movie.
Good movie.
And it was a good episode. I had a lot of fun.
Freaky movie, too.
Hopefully I could be back on your show one day.
Yeah, please, do. John Wick, too, if you want.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care.
Done.
Whatever, man. Come on.
Dunzo.
All right.
All right, check us out online, sos-radio.com. Give us ratings on iTunes, sos-radio.com, or Chicago's own Supernatural Occurrence Studies. And something new, Kate Sparrow, take us home.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the SOS-Radio podcast. Search SOS-Radio podcast on iTunes and give us a rating. Download our free mobile app by searching Supernatural Occurrence Studies on Google Play, Apple App Store, and Amazon App Store. Visit us online for ghostly photos that coincide with our podcasts, videos, and other exclusive content at SOS-radio.com, ChicagoSOS.com, and SupernaturalOccurrenceStudies.com. Follow us on Facebook at SOS-radio.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chicago Ghosts. Subscribe to the Chicago's own Supernatural Occurrence Studies YouTube channel for exclusive video content. Follow Jason Knight on Google+. That's Knight, N-H-Y-T-E. Email us at submissions@sos-radio.com. And call or text anytime at 872-529-0SOS. That's Chicago area code 872-529-0767.
And as always, kind listeners, keep your head up, eyes open, and question everything.
Want to save your soul from hell, riding on our range. Cowboy, change your ways today. With us you will ride at the devil's herd.